What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Karate Talk. Today I decided I was going to do a martial arts themed Q&A. So what I did was I made a post on Twitter, told you guys to ask me some questions. You got some really good questions, and so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into them. Question numero uno. What is my biggest regret and best outcome of getting into martial arts? My biggest regret would probably have to be right as I was starting to train seriously at ages 11 through 13. I was getting really good, and then at age 14, when I started high school, I decided to take a break and focus on school sports. And I wish that I would have never took that break, because there's no telling where my skill level would be at this point. Because, I've always had the interest in martial arts, but taking that break, I feel like, hurt me in my ability a little bit. Not to say that I was bad when I started back. It's just I wish I could have maintained a training schedule all the way through that time, instead of just keeping up with what I did know. I wish I could have stayed in a class and continued to learn all the way through those 4 years. And best outcome in terms of my I'm interpreting this as like my biggest accomplishment, and I would probably say promoting my first student to black belt, because that made me feel proud as an instructor. For those of you who don't know, around April or May of last year, promoted my younger brother to black belt. He had trained me off and on throughout the years, and he decided to take his training real seriously for the last couple of years that I was there, and he progressed really well, and he learned my curriculum fairly fast. And so being able to promote him to black belt was a huge honor for me, and knowing that he's going to use those skills when he goes into the military makes me proud even more. So I'd probably say that was probably my biggest accomplishment / outcome. Question number 2. How has martial arts changed my life? Martial arts has changed my life in a number of different ways. Especially with my job now, I work in a call center, and I deal with a lot of people who are angry. And even when I was working at Walmart, I dealt with a lot of unruly and angry customers. So I have a lot of self-control. So when I want to tell somebody off and tell them, give them a piece of my mind, I can now suppress that urge to where, I remain calm and collected, and I explain to them, why something is or isn't happening. And I'm more in control of myself, if that makes sense. So I don't feel the need to go off into people, you know what I mean? And it's also helped me meet a lot of different people and experience a lot of different things. Like I went to LA last year to film a little YouTube video. And if I didn't have the martial arts skill, I don't think that would have happened, and I don't feel like that I would have got the response that we got off that video. So it's helped me in my personal life with, dealing with people in my day-to-day job, and it's also helped me get closer to achieving my dreams. Hardest move or concept for me to learn? I don't think there's really been a really challenging move that, like, in terms of just different individual moves, I don't think there's really been one that's been really difficult for me to learn, because I've always had the natural talent for absorbing that kind of information. Like, I'm one of those, if I can see somebody do it, I'm a mimicker. So if I see somebody do it and I see how they do it, then I can make my body do it. That's kind of how I go about. That's my learning process. In terms of concepts, and I still kind of struggle with this a little bit, learning forms. It's just the constant repetition. It frustrates me a little bit, but if I focus and I keep my mind on the task at hand, I'm able to keep focus on learning the form, and I'll actually pick it up pretty fast. But it's always frustrating learning a new form. Like right now, with the new system that I'm currently studying, we're diving into some weapons forms, and those are really sort of complicated for me in some ways, and they're easy in some ways also. But it's not really the moves, it's the movements, like the steps and the turns. Those are what's keeping those in order is what's complicated for me. But as for the actual like moves, you know, okay, swing here, 360 here, it's really not that hard. It's learning the steps and the turns and the movements of the form that make it a little bit complicated for me. What am I most proud of in martial arts? Like I said, promoting my younger brother to black belt was a huge accomplishment for me. Back in March of 2016 was when I really started to compete on a serious level. So taking the step for me to start competing, at that time it was just state level, and I started dabbling into some national tournaments. So doing that was, I feel like I was proud of myself for taking the step and get over my fear of competing to do that. But I still get nervous when I go to compete. But I'm proud that I was able to take the steps and start competing. And I'm not saying, you know, when I say I get nervous, like I get stage fright, so to speak. But I enjoy the atmosphere of going to competitions. I love the adrenaline of being in a ring when I'm sparring with somebody in just a one-on-one match. And I enjoy focusing on putting on my best performance when I'm in a forms competition. So, and you know, I was another big proud accomplishment, like I mentioned, was going out to LA to shoot the Iron Fist versus Rorschach video. And like I said, without my martial arts talent, I don't think we would have been able to deliver a good product. You know, we've got a lot of good feedback on it. We just reached just over 1,000 views a few weeks ago, so we keep getting a good response from it. So I'm really happy that we were able to do that. What are my next goals? Well, as a lot of you guys know who follow my channel, I am an aspiring actor, which is why I went out to LA to film that video. And that whole video happened by chance. What happened was really, I was doing an online auditions, you know, kept doing online auditions after online auditions, kept getting no, read this one in the listing and thought it sounded kind of cool, so I sent in my audition tapes, sent in my demo reel. And I was living in Oklahoma at the time, and this guy was looking for people based out of California. And he basically said, you know, I was really hoping for someone who's in California, but if you're willing to travel to come and do this project, I'll give you a shot. And you know, it was right around tax time, so I was able to save some money with my tax refund, and I was able to go to LA with my best friend, who's now my roommate. We flew out to LA together and we shot this video. We were in LA for a week. We did a lot of cool stuff. Got videos of that in my YouTube channel, so if you want to go check those out. But it was a really fun experience, and in terms of like future goals, I want to try and get back into teaching martial arts. I'm kind of helping out my instructor when I can. I live about an hour and a half away, so it's kind of hard for me to be there all the time. But if he needs a hand and I have the available time, I'll go and help him instruct his classes. And you know, I want to keep doing films. I'm working on a couple screenplays right now that I'm hoping either, you know, one or the other or both of them get turned into actual films. You know, constantly learning as a martial artist, and you know, keep working on my acting and, you know, my writing skills to help develop the projects that I want to develop. So goals would definitely be martial arts instruction, and hopefully getting some films in the future. How did I get into martial arts, and what is my background? I got into martial arts like a lot of kids in the 90s through Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles. And, you know, it started off me, you know, just copying what I saw on TV. I didn't start taking martial arts until I was about 9 years old. And my dad worked with somebody who ran his own school. And, you know, he talked to him and he was able to get me signed up. And that was my first actual karate class. I was like 9 or 10 years old, like I said. and he was really good. You know, I had a preconceived notion of what it was, and this guy proved me totally wrong, that I didn't know what I was doing and I didn't know what it was. But it turned into wanting to be a Power Ranger and Ninja Turtle, into developing into a genuine love for the martial arts, and I continue to have this love and this passion and this fire for it. And then, like I said, I took a break. I trained for about 2-3 years on a semi-serious level, and then that instructor moved, and then, like I said, I got into boxing a little bit. Then I took about a 4-year break to focus on school sports and, you know, that kind of thing. And then I found another school, which is the current school that I'm at with Sensei Jim Fortner, who I did an interview with not too long ago on this channel. He's been my instructor for the past 6 years. He's an awesome man. He knows what he's doing. He runs schools. You know, he runs these schools to perfection. To be able to help him out a little bit more in terms of teaching, but I'm not able to because of my work schedule. And that's okay, but he works with me privately on the side during the weekends, so I'm still able to train with him and stuff like that, so I really appreciate that. My primary background, my base is in traditional Japanese Shotokan Karate. I earned a black belt in that about 4 years ago, and then about 2 years ago, or about a year and a half ago, I earned my second degree black belt in Shotokan Karate, and I'm currently studying with my new instructor, who I've said I've trained off and on with for 6 years. And he does what we call freestyle martial arts, which he takes bits and pieces from a lot of systems and combines them. And like I said, he has a, you know, nationally recognized school with the United Dojo Association, and I would say the base for it is a lot of Chinese Kung Fu, a lot of Japanese Kempo, and a lot of Taekwondo. Those are the main facets of the style that we do. And, you know, I've really grown to love the freestyle martial arts. I like to be able to, okay, I like this from this style, I'm going to use it. I like this from this style, I'm going to use it. And I think it helps develop us into more rounded martial artists, because, you know, Japanese karate schools, they teach Japanese karate. Korean schools teach Korean Taekwondo, or whatever the style. And Jiu-Jitsu schools teach Jiu-Jitsu. But not only does he teach martial arts, but he also has MMA classes out of his dojo. He also has jiu-jitsu classes out of his dojo. So we are able to take all these different systems and meld them into one system. And I really do, and I really like that, and I really appreciate it. And I think it helps us develop us as students into well-rounded martial artists. What do I want to improve on? I would like to improve on my physical fitness, because over the last few years I've kind of let myself go. So I'm trying to slowly get back into the swing of things, of like the fitness, trying to eat better, and trying to work out as often as I can. But like I said, I work 5 days a week, so it's kind of hard to find the time, but I do find as much time as I can to go to the gym, or to train at the dojo, or to train here at the house. So that's one thing I really want to improve on, and I would like to improve on my flexibility. I'm not as flexible as I used to be, and there's a lot of moves that I used to be able to do back when I was fit that I can't do anymore because of my fitness level. So overall, I just want to work on my flexibility and my fitness, and I think that would make me a happier individual as well as a healthier individual. Would I ever go back to teaching martial arts? Of course I would. Like I said, I kind of help my instructor when I can instruct his classes. I help with the younger kids a little bit, and you know, I really enjoy teaching. I miss teaching the kids that I taught when I was living in Oklahoma, and eventually I would like to be able to own and operate my own karate school. And I have several people who I work with who have been kind of asking me when I'd open my own school. That way I can, so they would have like an option if they had one, because there's only like a handful of karate schools around here, and no one knows exactly who to go to. But there's a lot of people that I work with that trust me enough to say that if I were to have my own school and operate it, that they would come take my classes. So long story short, yes, I would love to get back into teaching, but the opportunity isn't really there right now. Favorite martial arts memory? It's a toss-up between 3 of them. One would be competing in my first tournament, like I said, March of 2016. My first tournament, I was extremely nervous there, but everyone who was at the tournament organizers, made me feel really welcome, and I really appreciated, you know, them welcoming me with open arms. It was my first tournament I ever been to. and I didn't do too bad. I placed first in fighting, and I placed second in forms, so didn't do too bad at that tournament. And next memory that I cherish is would be going to Los Angeles to film Iron Fist versus Rorschach. That was a really fun experience. Like, it's one of those that I can go back and watch the video and kind of playfully cringe at it, because I know, looking back at it, you know, that I'm seeing stuff that I could have done better, things I could have done differently in terms of the choreography. But overall, it was a fun experience. I enjoyed making that whole video. I enjoyed shooting that whole video. I enjoyed the entire week that we were out there in LA, and I had a lot of fun. And then third one would be meeting martial arts superstar. Her name is Cynthia Rothrock. She was real big in the 80s and early 90s with a lot of like directed video martial arts movies, and she actually came to a tournament where, in the town where my instructor teaches, there was a little local tournament hosted there, and she came and, you know, took pictures, sold some t-shirts, and it was a lot of fun. And you know, I wish that, you know, I was able to talk to her a little bit more than I was able to, but it was an overall fun experience. So I'd say those are probably the three memories that I hold close. Those are my favorite memories in terms of martial arts. Alright guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning into this martial arts Q&A. I want to give a special shout out to two of my fellow YouTubers and friends and martial artists. One, Christine Lowe. She asked most of these questions that I answered today. Really good questions, really ones that made me think, and I really appreciated you taking time out of your day to ask me the questions, and hopefully you're able to learn something about me. And also shouts out to Jalen Croft. She also asked a couple questions in this video. She's a really good Taekwondo fighter. She posts training videos on her YouTube channel, and we've talked about possibly meeting up in the future. We haven't really talked about details or anything, but it's definitely something that's in the consideration stage. So go give those two girls a nice good look, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.